In 2024, we quietly said farewell to some truly remarkable figures from the Black community, individuals whose lives shaped culture, sports, and history, even if their names didn't dominate headlines. These were the game changers, the quiet heroes, and the legacy builders. Their passing may have slipped under the radar, but their impact, that still echoes. So today we're pressing pause to honor 6 powerful lives that deserve to be remembered. Not just for what they did, but for who they were. Let's start with a man whose influence helped raise one of basketball's greatest legends. Number 1, Joe Jellybean Bryant. Born on October 19, 1954, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Joe Bryant was more than a pro baller. He was a pioneer, a mentor, and yes, the proud father of the late Kobe Bryant. But Joe's story deserves its own spotlight. Long before Kobe's name echoed in arenas worldwide, Joe was crafting his own path in the game. He sharpened his skills at John Bartram High School and later at LaSalle University, where he became a standout force on the court. Standing at 6 feet 9 inches, Joe brought versatility and heart, playing both forward and center with the kind of hustle that made coaches trust him and teammates respect him. In 1975, the Golden State Warriors picked him 14th in the NBA draft. But it was with the Philadelphia 76ers where he kicked off a solid NBA career. Over 8 seasons, Joe wore multiple jerseys, including the San Diego Clippers and the Houston Rockets. He may not have been a superstar in the spotlight, but on the court, he was the guy who always showed up. A team-first player, a steady presence, a pro's pro. Then, in 1983, Joe did something bold. He took his game overseas, joining the Italian Professional League. It was more than just a career move, it was a life-changing chapter. Living in Italy exposed his family to a whole new culture, and young Kobe, soaking up those experiences, found his love for basketball in a way that would eventually inspire millions. Joe Bryant's journey wasn't just about points scored, it was about doors opened, foundations laid, and futures inspired. He left behind a powerful legacy, not just as a player, but as a father, a coach, and a bridge between generations of the game. After hanging up his jersey, Joe Bryant didn't step away from the game. He just found a new way to leave his mark. Trading in his role as a player for that of a coach, Joe brought his love and deep knowledge of basketball to the sidelines. He started coaching overseas in Italy, where his playing career had once thrived, and eventually made his way back to the States, taking on roles in several leagues, including a standout position as head coach of the Los Angeles Sparks in the WNBA. But Joe didn't stop there. His coaching journey became international, taking him to countries like Japan and Thailand, where he helped grow the game on a global level. Wherever he went, Joe shared not just strategies and plays, but a passion that made people fall in love with the sport. And while Joe influenced many players over the years, his most lasting impact, that happened at home, with his son Kobe. Joe didn't just teach Kobe how to dribble or shoot, he taught him how to think like a champion. He passed down the fundamentals, the discipline, the hunger to outwork everyone else in the room. Those early lessons became the foundation for Kobe's legendary career, and Kobe never missed a chance to credit his father for shaping both the athlete and the man he became. Joe's influence wasn't loud or flashy, but it was deep and it was powerful. His guidance, his mentorship, and the love he poured into his family created a ripple effect that would be felt around the world. Through Kobe, Joe's legacy reached millions. He wasn't just Kobe's father. He was his first coach, his role model, and the man who helped mold one of the greatest players the sport has ever seen. On July 15, 2024, Joe Bryant passed away at the age of 69. While the official cause wasn't made public, the Philadelphia Inquirer reported he had recently suffered a major stroke. His passing didn't make breaking news for everyone, but for those who knew the weight of his impact, the loss was profound. Joe Bryant may not have sought the spotlight, but his light shines on in every fan who watched Kobe dominate, in every young athlete learning the game, and in every coach who teaches not just how to play, but how to love the game. 2. Erica Ashe. Erica Ashe wasn't just an actress. She was a creative powerhouse, a natural-born performer who lit up every stage and screen she touched. Erica was an actress, singer, comedian, and model who left a lasting impression across the entertainment world. Born on September 19, 1977 in Florida, Erica's path to stardom didn't start with scripts and spotlights. In fact, her original plan was to go into medicine. She was all set to become a doctor. But sometimes life has other plans. And for Erica, everything changed after a trip to Japan. That journey shifted her world. Inspired by the culture and the experiences she had overseas, she pivoted toward modeling and singing. And just like that, the spark was lit. Once Erica stepped into the entertainment scene, there was no looking back. Her breakout moment came when she joined the cast of Mad TV, where her quick timing, electric energy, and sharp character work made her a fan favorite. From quirky impressions to laugh-out-loud sketches, Erica brought her own flavor to the show. Bold, clever, and completely unforgettable. That momentum opened doors, and Erica walked through everyone with grace and grit. She landed major roles, including in Tyler Perry's The Big Happy Family, and truly shined as Mary Charles M. Chuck Calloway on the hit Starz series Survivor's Remorse. Her performance in that role wasn't just funny, it was real. She gave us layers, she gave us truth, and critics took notice. Erica proved she wasn't just here for laughs, she had the chops for serious drama too. She continued to show her versatility in films like Scary Movie 5 and Uncle Drew, bringing her magnetic presence to both comedy and big-screen projects. Whether she was delivering punchlines or powerful moments, Erica had a way of drawing you in, but her influence, it didn't stop when the cameras cut. Erica Ashe was a bold voice in the industry, a woman who stood for creativity, authenticity, and breaking barriers. She inspired others not just through her roles, but through her story, reminding us that it's never too late to follow your passion and rewrite your own script. As a Black woman in Hollywood, Erica Ashe knew the road wasn't always easy, but she didn't let that stop her. Instead, she used her voice and her talent to tear down walls and open doors for others who looked like her. In an industry still struggling with diversity, Erica stood out, not just for her talent, but for what she represented. On screen, she didn't settle for the usual roles. She played bold, layered, empowered women, characters who broke stereotypes and gave Black women a chance to see themselves as leads, as complex, real, and powerful. Her performances were more than just entertaining, they were revolutionary in their own right. She made people feel seen, but Erica's impact wasn't limited to scripts and soundstages. Off-screen, she was just as fierce. She championed causes close to her heart, healthcare, education, racial justice, and used her platform to push for real change. She spoke up, she showed up, and she never backed down from using her spotlight to make a difference. Erica didn't just inspire with her talent, she inspired with her purpose. She proved that you can shine bright and still lift others while you rise. Fans, especially young Black artists, saw in her a role model, someone who showed them that it's okay to be unapologetically yourself and still reach for greatness. Sadly, in July of 2024, Erica Ashe passed away at just 46 years old after a quiet battle with cancer. Her death hit hard. It was the kind of loss that left a silence in a room that used to echo with laughter, strength, and joy. But Erica's story doesn't end there. Her legacy continues to light the way for others. Through her roles, her advocacy, and the barriers she helped break. She may be gone, but the impact she made, that's here to stay. Number 3, Abdul Duke Fakir. Born December 26, 1935 in Detroit, Michigan, Abdul Duke Fakir wasn't just a music legend. He was part of the heartbeat of Motown. One of the original founding members of the Four Tops, Abdul helped shape the sound of a generation and influence the course of American music. Growing up in a multicultural household with Ethiopian and Bangladeshi roots, Abdul faced challenges early on, but he found peace and purpose in music, a passion that would eventually change his life and the world around him. In high school, fate stepped in when he met Levi Stubbs, Ronaldo Obi Benson, and Lawrence Payton. The chemistry was instant. They started as the Four Aims, but it wasn't long before they rebranded and made history as the Four Tops. By 1963, they signed with Motown Records, and what followed was pure magic. With Abdul's silky smooth tenor voice, the Four Tops delivered hit after hit. I Can't Help Myself, Sugar Pie, Honey Bunch, Reach Out, I'll Be There, Baby I Need Your Loving. Songs that didn't just top charts, they became cultural touchstones. Their blend of soul, pop, and R&B created an unmistakable sound that still gives people chills decades later. But Abdul Fakir and the Four Tops were more than a musical act. They were a symbol of strength, unity, and hope during some of the darkest times in American history. At the height of the civil rights movement, their music brought people together. Black, white, young, old. Their songs crossed racial lines and helped carve out space for Black voices in mainstream music. Abdul, known for his kindness, humility, and unshakable dedication, didn't just perform. He stood for something. He used his platform to support civil rights and speak out against injustice, proving that art can be a powerful tool for change. While time took his fellow bandmates one by one, Abdul remained the last original top, performing into his 80s with the same fire he had in his youth, still sharing the joy, soul, and message of their music with the world. On July 22, 2024, Abdul Fakir passed away at the age of 88 in his hometown of Detroit. The cause was heart failure, but his true heart, his music, his voice, and his impact live on. He wasn't just the last man standing from one of Motown's most iconic groups. He was a living bridge to an era that changed the world. And though he's gone, his voice will never fade. It still echoes in every soul record, every love song, every voice that dares to sing with heart. Number 4, Sheila Jackson Lee. She wasn't just a congresswoman. Sheila Jackson Lee was a force of nature in American politics. For nearly 3 decades, she represented Texas's 18th congressional district, becoming one of the most recognizable and passionate voices on Capitol Hill. Born January 12, 1950, in Queens, New York, Sheila was raised in a household where education and service weren't just encouraged, they were expected. She took those values to heart. After earning her degree from Yale University in 1972, she didn't stop there. She powered on to get her law degree from the University of Virginia School of Law in 1975. Her path to Congress wasn't overnight. Sheila first served as a municipal judge and later joined the Houston City Council, where she quickly made waves. She built a reputation as a tireless fighter for her community, never backing down from tough conversations and always putting people first. Whether it was civil rights, education, or healthcare, Sheila was in the trenches, making sure underserved communities had a seat at the table. When she got to Washington in 1995, it didn't take long for her to make her presence known. Sheila Jackson Lee became one of the most vocal and unwavering advocates in the U.S. House of Representatives. She served on both the House Judiciary Committee and the Homeland Security Committee, pushing bold reforms that tackled the root of America's most pressing issues. She took on immigration reform, stood up for voting rights, and championed criminal justice reform when few were ready to have that conversation. She was also a fierce defender of the Affordable Care Act, never wavering in her fight to expand access to affordable health care for all Americans. But her advocacy didn't stop there. Sheila led the charge on women's rights, called for action against gun violence, and constantly pushed for racial equity. She was bold, she was consistent, and she was unapologetically on the side of the people. Through every speech, every vote, and every battle she fought on the floor of Congress, Sheila Jackson Lee built a legacy not just of service, but of courage, conviction, and compassion. She didn't just hold a seat in Congress, she held it down for the voiceless. Sheila Jackson Lee never just held a seat in Congress, she held the line for those who needed it most. Throughout her career, Sheila didn't just show up, she showed out for the underserved. From championing laws to protect victims of domestic violence, to shining a light on mental health challenges, she fought for the people and communities who were too often left behind. She made it her mission to be the voice for the voiceless. Whether it was standing up for racial justice, calling out disparities in healthcare, or pushing for real change in the criminal justice system, Sheila was relentless. She wasn't just fighting for equality, she demanded it. One of her most defining efforts, her unwavering defense of voting rights. At a time when those rights were under attack, Sheila stepped up, loud and proud, pushing to restore critical parts of the Voting Rights Act and making sure every American, especially African Americans, had fair access to the ballot box. She also stepped up big time when disaster struck. After Hurricane Harvey devastated Houston in 2017, Sheila was on the ground, boots on and sleeves rolled, making sure her city got the federal aid it needed. That was who she was, always there when her people needed her. Then in July 2024, at 74 years old, the news no one was ready for hit. Sheila Jackson Lee passed away after a courageous fight with pancreatic cancer. She was still serving in office when she died, never stepping back from her role, even in her final days. That alone speaks volumes. Her passing marked the end of an era, not just for Texas politics, but for every community she fiercely represented. But make no mistake, Sheila's story doesn't end there. Her legacy lives on in every bill she pushed through, in every family she helped, and in every young woman who now believes she too can make change from the inside out. Sheila Jackson Lee was more than a lawmaker. She was a trailblazer, a fighter, and a true champion of justice. Number 5, Bill Cobbs, a quiet giant of the screen. When you think of actors who brought heart, soul, and wisdom to every role, Bill Cobbs is a name that deserves to be remembered. Born William Francis Cobbs on June 16, 1934, in Cleveland, Ohio, Bill's path to Hollywood wasn't exactly a straight shot. Raised in a working-class family, he served honorably in the U.S. Air Force, worked as a car salesman and office worker, and didn't step into the acting world until later in life. But once he found his calling, he never looked back. It all began in the 1970s, when Bill took a leap of faith and moved to New York City to chase a dream most would have called impossible. He started out on the stage, but it wasn't long before the screen came calling. His deep voice, calm demeanor, and that undeniable presence made him someone you couldn't help but watch. Over the course of more than 40 years, Bill Cobbs lit up our screens in over 190 roles, in both TV and film. Whether you recognized him from the Hudsucker Proxy, Demolition Man, or as the wise, warm-hearted night guard in Night at the Museum, Cobbs always brought something special, a quiet depth, a sense of truth, something real. He wasn't just a supporting actor. He was the kind of presence that made every scene better. On TV, he popped up in hit series like The Sopranos, The West Wing, and The Michael Richards Show, always delivering grounded, authentic performances. But Bill Cobbs' impact went far beyond the screen. In a Hollywood that so often limited black actors to one-dimensional roles, he broke the mold. He showed the world that black actors could be wise, complex, vulnerable, authoritative, and everything in between. He carried dignity with him, both on screen and off, and quietly helped tear down walls for the generations that followed. To those who knew the struggle of representation, Bill was a beacon. To young actors dreaming of a place in the spotlight, he was proof that it could be done, with grace, with patience, and with authenticity. On June 25, 2024, Bill Cobbs passed away peacefully at his home in Upland, California, at 90 years old. His death didn't just mark the end of a life, it marked the passing of a true Hollywood treasure. Bill Cobbs wasn't flashy. He didn't chase fame, but what he left behind? A legacy of excellence, representation, and heart. He may be gone, but his work, his quiet power, and his influence will echo for decades to come. Number 6, Willie Mays, the say hey kid who changed the game. If baseball had a Mount Rushmore, Willie Mays would be front and center. Born May 6, 1931, in the small town of Westfield, Alabama, Willie wasn't just destined to play baseball, he was born into it. His father was a semi-pro player, and young Willie was on the diamond practically before he could walk. By the time he hit high school, he was already dazzling folks with his skills in both baseball and football. But it was clear early on that baseball was where he'd leave his mark. And leave a mark he did. At just 16 years old, Willie signed with the New York Giants minor league system, setting the stage for a career that would redefine greatness in Major League Baseball. When he made his MLB debut in 1951, the world didn't just see a rising star. They saw the beginning of a legend in real time. That very year, he earned National League Rookie of the Year, but that was just the beginning. By 1954, Willie helped power the Giants to a World Series championship, and during Game 1, he delivered what many still call the greatest defensive play in baseball history, the catch, an over-the-shoulder grab that's been replayed and revered for generations. Willie's career spanned an incredible 22 years, most of it with the Giants, first in New York, then San Francisco, before he finished up with the New York Mets. His stats? Nothing short of jaw-dropping. 660 home runs, 3,283 hits, 1,903 RBIs, a .302 career batting average, 338 stolen bases, 12 Gold Gloves for his brilliance in center field, 24 All-Star selections, 2-time National League MVP, but numbers only tell part of the story. Willie wasn't just one of the best hitters or defenders. He was the total package. Fast, smart, fearless, and electric on the field. He played the game with a joy and swagger that lit up every stadium and captivated every fan. In 1979, it came full circle when Willie was inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. A no-brainer for a player many still consider the most complete to ever play the game. But beyond the stats and accolades, Willie Mays was bigger than baseball. He was a symbol of Black excellence at a time when the sport and the country was still learning to accept it. He broke barriers, inspired generations, and carried himself with grace on and off the field. Willie didn't just play baseball, he elevated it. He made it magical. And for anyone who ever dreamed of making it to the big leagues, Willie Mays made that dream feel real. Willie Mays wasn't just great at baseball, he was a game changer in every sense of the word. At a time when America was still struggling with deep racial divides, Mays stood tall as one of the most visible and respected African-American athletes of his generation. He didn't just play through the tension, he rose above it, paving the way for future Black players and proving that talent, character, and class could outshine prejudice. With every swing of the bat and every sprint across center field, Mays showed what grace under pressure looked like. He wasn't just a star, he became a symbol, not just of excellence in sports, but of resilience, integrity, and hope. And Willie's heart didn't stop at baseball. Long after his final at-bat, he poured his time and energy into youth programs, education, and charity work, constantly giving back to the communities that once looked up to him as a hero and still do. Whether it was supporting the next generation of athletes or speaking up for what's right, Mays used his platform for something bigger than himself. On June 18, 2024, the world lost Willie Mays at the age of 93. He passed away peacefully at a care home in Palo Alto, California, due to heart failure. Just a day before, in what would be his final public message, Mays shared that he would be staying in California instead of attending the special MLB game at Rickwood Field between the Giants and the Cardinals. Even in his final words, there was humility and grace. His passing didn't just close a chapter, it closed an era. But legends don't really leave us. Willie's influence continues to echo, not only in the record books or highlight reels, but in the culture of the game itself. Over the years, Mays received countless accolades, none greater than the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2015, an honor that recognized not just his greatness as an athlete, but his impact as a human being. And even in retirement, he remained a towering figure in American sports, revered, respected, and remembered. Willie Mays will always be more than a ball player. He was a trailblazer, a role model, and a national treasure. He changed the sport. He inspired a generation. And his legacy will live on in every young player who dares to dream big, chase fly balls, and believe that greatness has no limits.